Have you ever heard of an alter ego trust? Hi, Nancy Beauvair here with Agape and NEXsteps. This week I wanted to talk about something that you can implement if you are over 65 in Canada, and it will protect your estate and it will help avoid probate after your death. Now, a lot of people that I know that are pretty sophisticated financially have never heard of an alter ego trust. It was introduced in the Income Tax Act in Canada in 2000, so that's 25 years that it's been in existence, and yet a lot of people still don't know anything about it. Simply put, an alter ego trust is a trust that is set up by the settlor, which is the person who is creating the trust, and in this case, contrary to other trusts, the settlor is also the trustee, so they retain the control of all of the assets in the trust. Now, what this does is it allows people to put property, bank accounts, different assets into an alter ego trust to shield them from probate down the road. Now, I've mentioned in a couple of other videos about why you do want to avoid probate. It's not so much about the money itself, although depending on the size of your estate, the probate fees can be quite substantial. But more than that, the time that it is taking to be granted probate in Canada, the waiting list is getting longer and longer. It can take many, many months to even obtain the grant of probate. And what happens is everything is frozen in the estate. The executor can't act until the grant of probate has been received. Now, another reason why people may want to avoid probate is that becomes part of the public record. So if you are wanting to keep your financial business and your heirs and beneficiaries, all of that information out of the public eye, the more that you can avoid probate, the better it is for your privacy as well. Now, why would you want to set up an alter ego trust, though? It exists for the lifetime of the settlor who initially put the investments in there. I would make a point here that not all investments, not all assets can be placed into an alter ego trust. RRSPs, those types of registered accounts, are not able to qualify for placement within that trust. And that's obvious because you're avoiding the capital gains until after the death of the settlor. Now, what's involved in setting up an alter ego trust? Obviously, you would want to get the advice of a wills and estates or a trust lawyer who has experience in these and can help you determine if it makes sense for your circumstances and situation. The other thing that you want to do is discuss it with your financial professional, your tax advisor, just to make sure that there aren't any implications down the road that can make some issues tax-wise after you've passed. Another benefit of the alter ego trust is that you can set up a successor trustee. That keeps things very, very simple and keeps things out of the court, and all of these things will avoid probate. But again, you want to make sure that you get the proper advice because you can't avoid the taxes forever. The capital gains will hit the trust when the original settlor passes on. So make sure that there has been tax strategy around that so that your estate is not left struggling to pay the tax bill. Now, why wouldn't you want an alter ego trust? Well, depending on your circumstances, it may be fairly expensive to set up and maintain. You do have to keep very, very strict records, especially since you would also be the trustee. You're going to have to keep very, very detailed transaction history of that. You also have to file an annual trust return, which takes time, it takes money. But it could be a very, very effective tax planning strategy for some people. So it's worth thinking about. These are the kinds of things that often when people are thinking about estate planning, they think in terms of their will and their power of attorney and passing on named beneficiaries on maybe RSPs or a life insurance policy. But there are multiple estate planning tools and techniques. I'm a certified financial advisor. I can review where you are in your life, what your goals, what your plans are, and make sure that you're connected with the right people to make the right plan to help you plan for your heirs and beneficiaries in the best way possible. Hop on over to my website. I've got a more detailed article on there about the alter ego trusts, and you can also connect with me through the website, and I'd be happy to meet with you to see how I can help you maximize your strategies and bring benefit to you. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.